The message came at 2:17 a.m., buried beneath hundreds of unread notifications, blinking silently on a phone that hadn't been touched in hours. It was just 12 words long, but it carried a weight that would shatter everything he thought he had under control. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of one message to change a life, take a moment right now to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Because stories like this remind us what truly matters. Adrian Cole was the kind of man people admired from a distance. At 38, he was the founder and CEO of one of Silicon Valley's fastest-growing tech companies. His days blurred into nights inside glass-walled offices in San Francisco, surrounded by glowing screens, investor calls, and endless deadlines. Success followed him like a shadow, but so did silence. The kind that fills empty apartments and unanswered messages. He used to promise himself it was all temporary. Just a few more months of grinding, just one more funding round, just one more breakthrough, and then he would slow down. Then he would make time. Then he would respond. But then never came. Among the hundreds of notifications on his phone, one name had appeared again and again over the past few weeks: Clara Whitmore. Her messages were always simple, always patient. A photo of the sunset from their hometown in Oregon. A reminder about a childhood memory. A quiet, hope you're doing okay. Clara wasn't just anyone. She was the only person who had seen Adrian before the suits, before the headlines, before the version of him the world admired. She knew the boy who used to sit under the stars, dreaming about building something meaningful. She believed in him before anyone else did. But belief, it seemed, wasn't enough to compete with ambition. At first, Adrian had responded occasionally. Short replies, delayed by days, then weeks. Eventually, silence replaced effort. Not because he didn't care, but because caring required time, and time was something he had convinced himself he couldn't afford. His phone would light up, her name appearing like a quiet knock on a locked door. And every time, he would glance at it, hesitate for a second, and then put it face down. Until that night. The message at 2:17 a.m. wasn't like the others. It didn't carry warmth or patience. It carried finality. I waited as long as I could. I hope you find what you're chasing. Adrian didn't see it right away. He was asleep on his office couch, exhaustion finally forcing his body to shut down after a 19-hour workday. The city outside hummed softly, unaware that something irreversible had just happened in a quiet corner of his world. When he woke up hours later, sunlight cutting through the blinds, his head pounding and his phone buzzing with new demands, he followed his usual routine. Emails, messages, updates, meetings, and then he saw it. Clara's name, that message. Something inside him shifted, not dramatically, not instantly, but enough to make him pause longer than usual. He opened the chat thread, scrolling up through weeks of unread messages. Each one was a piece of her trying to stay connected to a version of him that no longer existed. A photo of her smiling beside an old cafe they used to visit. I passed by this place today. Made me think of you. A message from 2 weeks ago. Are you okay? Haven't heard from you in a while. Another. I know you're busy, but I miss talking to you. And then silence, until that final message. For the first time in years, Adrian didn't know what to do next. There was no strategy, no quick fix, no business solution to this. Just a growing heaviness in his chest that no success could quiet. He told himself it wasn't a big deal. People drift apart, life moves on. This was normal, but it didn't feel normal. It felt like losing something he never thought he could lose. The rest of the day passed in a blur, but his focus was gone. Numbers didn't make sense. Conversations felt distant. Even the praise from his team felt hollow. That night, for the first time in years, Adrian didn't stay late. He went home. The apartment greeted him with its usual silence, but this time, it felt louder. He looked around at the sleek furniture, the expensive decor, the life he had built, and for the first time it felt incomplete. He picked up his phone again. The message stared back at him. His fingers hovered over the screen, unsure, hesitant, almost afraid. What could he say now? What words could undo weeks of silence? Hours passed before he finally typed something. I'm sorry. He stared at it for a long time before hitting send. No response came that night. Or the next. Days turned into a quiet kind of regret that followed him everywhere. He found himself checking his phone more often, hoping, waiting, understanding now what she must have felt all those weeks. And then, just when he had almost convinced himself it was too late, her reply came. "It's not about being busy, Adrian. It's about choosing what matters." That one sentence hit harder than anything else, because deep down he knew she was right. He had chosen, again and again, and now he was facing the cost of those choices. Something changed after that. Not overnight, not perfectly, but enough. Adrian began stepping away from the life that had consumed him. He started leaving the office earlier. He ignored a few calls that could wait. He made space where there had been none. And then, one weekend, he did something he hadn't done in years. He booked a flight to Oregon. When he arrived, the air felt different, slower, quieter, real. He drove through familiar streets, past memories that had been waiting for him long before success had claimed his time. He found Clara at that same cafe she had sent him a picture of weeks ago. She looked surprised when she saw him. Not angry, not emotional, just surprised. Adrian didn't have a perfect speech, no rehearsed apology, just honesty. And sometimes, that's enough. They talked, slowly at first, carefully, like rebuilding something fragile. It wasn't instant forgiveness. It wasn't a dramatic reunion. But it was a beginning. And for Adrian, that meant everything. Because for the first time in a long time, he realized something powerful. Success means nothing if you have no one left to share it with. Before this story ends, take a moment to comment below. What would you have done in Adrian's place? Would you have answered sooner or learned the hard way? As the sun set over the quiet Oregon sky, Adrian sat across from Clara, no longer distracted, no longer chasing something distant, just present. And maybe, just maybe, that was the success he had been searching for all along. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe for more stories that remind us what truly matters in life.